Brookside Consulting, cloud-based voice, video, contact center, and internet. Communicate simply. So public schools and private schools, that's what I want to talk about today. And the first question that comes up when we look at schools after the pandemic and everything we've been through with these kids, how many apps do your users have to log into? I mean, there are a lot of applications, most of them cloud-based, but for the most part, the average user seems to log into at least 3 content, screen sharing, collaboration tools that come with multiple passwords and logins. I mean, it's a little bit over the top for a third grader. So why do we have these students and teachers log into multiple apps? That's a good question. Why not reduce complexity for the users by picking the best solution to meet your school's specific needs and budget? From Gartner Magic Quadrant providers, all these guys provide a lot of the same similar, solutions, but for some reason, a lot of schools mix and match and have, Microsoft Teams and Zoom or Google and Zoom, and it just doesn't make sense sometimes for the users. I don't know why the decision was made to do that, and it doesn't matter. It's time to take a look and see, and we can help. Public or private cloud, DIR or purchasing co-op, Brookside can help you from solution design to implementation. Okay. Now, what you see in a lot of schools is on-site phone systems. They've been there for a long time. They're paid for. People don't realize what they're spending on trunks and maintenance and software assurance. However, basic powdered backup and all the stuff from a resource standpoint in IT, it all goes into an on-site system versus a cloud system. So you've got either a lot of responsibility with an on-site system, it's all yours, or zero responsibility with a cloud-based solution, which generally works out to be less expensive in most cases. So in many of the schools that I've talked to have Cisco or Vaya or something that, is on site, something that their people know how to work on and spend a lot of time keeping going. And then there's also ever rising pricing of SmartNet and all the things that go to maintaining, managing it for your in-house people. And then some of them have cloud-based solutions that generally, in most cases, from what I've heard, have issues. And either that or they're expensive, they're overpriced. So Brookside cloud-based solutions for education, we work with Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Webex, whatever you got or whatever you want to look at, and we help you find the right solution to fit your particular needs. So in most cases, our goal is to reduce complexity for the users and for IT and cut your cost per user in half by moving to the right cloud solution. So when we talk about clouds, there's 2 ways to go. You've got public and private, and what's best for you? Well, that's something only you can answer. But at the end of the day, I'm able to help with both. With a private cloud, you're really doing everything yourself. Multiple servers, whether they're virtual, VMware, or if they're hardware-based servers, you're responsible for everything from software and all kinds of power supplies, all the stuff that goes with that. And you need data center level technical guys to be able to do this. Security is a big issue these days with ransomware in schools and all the stuff with the bad people on the internet, software patches and upgrades. You're responsible for all that. And on top of that, SIP trunks. If you start looking at what you're spending on SIP trunks, those you don't need when you move into the public cloud. So, and then once you pick it, you have to pick a number of SIP trunks. So you have to almost manage the situation and guess how many people are going to be on the phone, as we begin to move more towards mobile. Now, if you look at the public cloud, the provider does everything. Zero hardware and software responsibility. There's nothing on site. All you need is internet access. It's 24/7 tech support for everything. They take it, they'll do programming changes, everything you need. It's all covered in the price, which is about $20 a user a month. And all the users are remote because everybody's connected to the cloud. So, it works a lot better than what it used to. Today, it's almost 100%. With almost all vendors, is that right at 100%, as far as reliability. And they all come with built-in security for these remote users, which is something you don't have to mess with. And it scales rather quickly. You just add licenses, numbers, very easy to manage. And the phone lines are included, so it's unlimited voice paths. So you don't have to worry about, somebody getting a busy signal in a peak situation. So it works out to be the public cloud usually works out 99 or 100% of the time to be the lowest cost per user when you look at it that way. So that's how I like to look at it. Now, what you've got is cloud-based versus on-premise. 3 crucial factors influence a CIO's decision to move business communications to the cloud. So economics, if you're still using on-prem, they're stuck with dead-end systems and older technology. They get more expensive with higher maintenance. More and more companies move away from premise-based solutions into the cloud. And I'm talking about on the manufacturer side, because you start looking at scalability. Most, if all of PBX manufacturers have slashed all their R&D and funding for any existing premise-based solutions and are carving out a path forward, moving, so the writing's on the wall. The cloud is, the future is the cloud, the performance, the on-prem systems can't offer the same uptime reliability as a cloud-based solution these days. For example, A8 offers like 5 nines and platform-wide, uptime, service level agreement or SLA. So that's pretty that's getting up there as far as being very accurate, and the cloud being more accurate, obviously, than some of the other solutions that are out there. But once again, we look at cloud versus on-premise. If you're looking to stretch your IT budget, meaning you don't want to have to spend a lot of money, you don't have a lot of in-house IT resources, the cloud-based solution is the only way to go. If you do have significant IT resources and you require total control or have a fully customized solution, I don't see how, but in some cases, it might make sense for an on-premise phone solution. We can help there as well. I'm only pushing everything towards the cloud because that's the direction everything's going. I think that's the best advice I can give people. But here are why move voice, chat, and video to the cloud. So you know exactly what you're going to spend on a cost user basis for the next 3 to 5 years. That makes the accounting people and everybody happy. Minimal upfront cost, and it pays for itself through savings when you compare the total cost per user. So when you roll in there what you're spending on, either IT resources to manage your current phone system for the school, or if you're a school district, or if you're, your SIP trunks and all the things that have to do with voice. You take a look at it, a lot of times it's less expensive to move to the cloud, where it's less than $20 a user a month, all in. So this also, by moving to the cloud, you reduce complexity and responsibility for IT because you get rid of all the servers and the hardware, the circuits and software and all the stuff that can break. It all goes away. You consolidate all your collaboration tools to reduce the number of applications and logins and passwords. Just make it easier on the users in IT. You only pay for what you need on a per user basis and always have the latest features and capabilities. So that's really slick too. Consolidation, integration of all your key apps for the best possible user experience. So like I said, integrating Microsoft Teams or Zoom, whatever it takes to make an easy experience for the end users. And then something that meets business continuity and security goals with enterprise connectivity using fiber and SD WAN. We're very familiar with that, and we basically can help you find the best path to the cloud for voice, chat, video, and connectivity for free. It's pretty slick. So handling communications between the parents, the teachers, and the administration. I mean, that's kind of a biggie today. And so what we want to offer in some cases, depending on the size of the district or the school or how many calls and the volume, many of the larger ones are moving to something called Omnichannel contact center, which allows parents and students and everybody to communicate in a single platform with self-service chatbots using AI and machine learning to help people understand what information is available 24/7. As far as calls and things of that nature, it also tracks, just like calls, but it adds email and chat from your website, SMS texting, and social media integration so that you know everything that's going on with every call. And I think one of the biggest impacts we've seen today is chatbots and how they've changed the game for customer service in the schools, so that we start looking at, people want to access information or communicate or find out certain things. The chatbot is going to be a good way to be able to easily manage that stuff 24/7. So when you start looking at web chat and self-service chatbots, basically the web chat is just live, and so that's during business hours, where they can talk to somebody, maybe ask questions. That's how a lot of people prefer to actually communicate these days. And then there's web-based chatbots that work around the clock, almost like an auto attendant with information, but it's constantly learning as it gets more and more calls, what people are asking for and what they're wanting. And it's very cost effective to be able to get this today where it wasn't, like say 5 years ago. The chatbots are always available, so that in most cases, up to one stat I saw was 37% of inquiries were logged outside of standard business hours. So, this is how you can help people learn, what they need to do. I mean, it's just a world of information. It's on the website 24/7. Everything from asking questions about your child, setting up something with a counselor. I mean, it's all there, all the information. So that's all part of just a license that you would add if you had a cloud-based solution. So in many cases, I think, are you ready to move to the cloud? I really only work mainly with Gartner Magic Quadrant providers because they're the ones that are going to be there. They're the biggest ones. They're the ones that, when you do the research, have been consistent in their behavior and in their financials. So we start looking at what we do if you're a Microsoft shop. What's the best way to handle, maybe integrating a couple of things and making things reduce complexity and saving some money. Same with Zoom. Google Workspace for education. There's 8x8's got a good solution that a lot of people like. It's very efficient with bandwidth. Webex and Cisco. Then you've got 8x8 also interconnects, has a really neat integration in Microsoft Teams. You got a Vaya's cloud office solution, which is powered by RingCentral. And of course, there's several other providers from, the nice CX1, who's one of the chatbot kings, to, Vonage and RingCentral, Nextiva, and Dialpad. These are all companies that we work with that can get pricing and show you a solution. So you're either Google or Microsoft or a combination of both. A lot of people are using Google Workspace for education. And what works well when you start talking about some of these providers is Chrome extensions. And so, you could take, using a Chromebook, or, you can add these add-ons, more or less, they're available in the Chrome store, that allow you to be able to, use the system, or actually the solution, in conjunction with Google Chrome. So I mean, these are just, these are clicks, not code, to be able to integrate with everything from Cisco to Avaya to Zoom. And then, you can also actually add voice to Google Workspace for Education. And once again, reduce complexity for the students and teachers with one app. I mean, that's the whole goal, more or less. So when you start looking at Zoom's very popular, jumped up there out of nowhere to be, probably one of the most seen solutions in the school area. And then there's some people that still use it. So if it's something you really like, you can add phone service to it. So that's kind of cool. It's once again, a bundle. We're trying to have less things to log into. And so if you really like Zoom Phone is one solution I can get pricing and show you a demo on. The thing about Zoom is they got data centers all over the world. Some are in places I'm not real happy with, like China right now, but that's a whole different deal. And, something that depends on each individual user. It's one of those things but they do have 8 data centers around the world. Webex, that's Cisco. There's one app for everything and everyone. And that seems to work very well. Some people have already used Webex or used it in the past. Well, today it's a cloud-based solution that has phones and everything all included in one price. Like I said, around $20 users, but all the stuff's around that or less. So it's got Webex calling. So that app that's been around forever, but it can work on your desktop, or tablet, or your mobile phone, or even the Cisco desk phone. So all that can be included. And they've really gotten big in the game. Like I said, it's around $20 user a month, which all in, you get rid of, if you're a Cisco house and you like this, you can get rid of all that hardware, the SIP trunks and everything, and still use the Cisco technology, which works out really well for a lot of people. They also have, so it's Webex calling is how it works. Basically it's voicemail and everything, just like a regular traditional, app like you'd use. And so, like I said, it works on desktops and tablets and on any device, all your calling and everything with that. And then even have a contact center to be able to, if that's, have the platform with AI to help people with self-service, items and chatbots, things of that nature. And then there's a Vaya Cloud Office. So Vaya has a cloud-based solution that is an all-in-one workstream collaboration experience and does everything you need, integrates to the apps. It's a Vaya that's been around forever, works well with Microsoft, Google, Apple, and that's a good thing. And then basically it also integrates with things like Blackboard, Canvas, and Google Workspace. And it's kind of interesting because it does, also actually have a very tight integration with Microsoft Teams. So that's just another thing where if you want people using Teams, Avaya can operate in the background and be able to provide you with, I think a better solution than RingCentral or some of the other ones, because it uses the Avaya phones and the Avaya software on the front end to be able to do things like park and page, which is a big deal. You can't do that with most of the cloud-based solutions, including RingCentral. But with Avaya, they're doing it on their solution, and they're using RingCentral as a back office provider of the network. So another solution to look at is Microsoft Teams. Obviously, a lot of people using that. One app for everything: voice, chat, video, and presence. So we like to show you ways to be able to add inbound, outbound calling to Teams. So if you're using Teams on any device, like I said, you're able to make and receive calls and have your phone number come out, like the main number for the school or whatever you want it to be, but not your cell numbers. This allows your teachers and admins to be able to communicate using work numbers separately from their personal. So using one app for voice, chat, video, screen sharing, task management, file sharing, everything. And it all works very well on the Microsoft Teams mobile app. So make and receive calls, if you can imagine, and have it come up with the school's number. So when you start talking about Teams, there are multiple options for integration to Microsoft Teams. And integration is kind of tricky because they don't really have an API. So they have their own service, Microsoft 365 Business Voice, which gives you end-to-end cloud-based phone service, but I wouldn't call it enterprise. And I have had several people that have come to me looking to replace it because they were not exactly happy with the voice quality and drop calls. So they have limited experience with voice. So they have a lot of tickets over there that they're trying to clear out that for problems that have come back from trying to be in the full voice business. And so the problem is they never really take full responsibility for the problem. They always blame it on something else. So I always say Microsoft is number one in finger pointing, but that's, that's not taking a shot at it. That's just being honest. So because there is no API for Microsoft for Teams, there's a workaround called the Teams. That's what everybody uses from, Via, Mitel, NEC, all of them use that to be able to allow their phone system or phone solution to be able to talk to Teams. And so the way it looks is like this. This is using Polycom's like Windows Teams phones. They're Teams certified. And that adds voice to Teams, so that make and receive calls. It's integrated right in with Teams. You see it on the desktop. You see everything going on as far as status of different individuals and things of that nature. And so then it also could work with your current Mitel solution. If you had, basically the old ShoreTel, or if you had the newer Mitel 3300, that I can voice enable Teams there. I mean, that's something if you just can't get rid of your system or not ready to upgrade, but want to be able to take advantage of Teams in the same environment, I can make that happen, right? And even with Cisco, right? And so with the current Cisco based system, it's just using SIP to connect to call the Teams and get to Microsoft 365. Also works with Avaya, right? So those are the different ways you can do it. Now, one of the other companies I really like that we've done a lot of work with Microsoft Teams is 8x8. So 8x8 basically is a complete global company that has, everything from analytics on everything that happens in the system to voice, video, and an enterprise contact center solution, as well as integration to a lot of different software packages. They're very global. They have a lot of large major national companies. They're here locally, Verbo and Expedia and those guys, and Indeed, we're big customers of theirs. They have really, really slick integration in Teams. I just want to show you real quick. So there's Microsoft Teams running over Teams users and Teams clients, right? They use direct routing, like we talked about, for PBX to PBX connections back and forth and the sync. So it's able to, using Cisco phones, be able to have it on the mobile app, on any kind of mobile device, as well as a Cisco desk phone or a Polycom desk phone, one of those Windows Teams phones, or your traditional Polycom phones. Any of those phones will work as far as on the desktop, or even Yealink phones, right? So we start talking about, how this integrates. It's really slick. An installation takes minutes, not hours. You just basically have a user template they give you that you download into 8x8, and then connect it up using Microsoft Active Directory. Next thing you know, you're in business, right? So once they're synced up, everything, the users, it sees each other. So then you're able, because of Active Directory in the program, when you add a user, you just flip one little switch. It says enable Microsoft Teams integration, and boom, you're set, right? So the other thing they've got is a really cool app. It's a Microsoft Teams 8x8 voice for Microsoft Teams app. Within Teams, what you see is you have a dashboard that will show you several things that I'll show you in a second. So to add it, you can go to the app, Microsoft Teams apps, which is the 3 dots over there, and you just add 8x8. Next thing you know, it pops up and gives you, a single sign-on. Once you log in using single sign-on, then you are into the app. And what the app gives you, one-touch access to the 8x8 customer portal. So that it means that your 8x8 button over here, or your call button, is going to have a keypad now. So you're able to make and receive calls within Teams, which works out really well. So in the dashboard, you have your voicemail, you have your SMS text, you have faxing, you have any call recordings you got, and then the 8x8 settings, which are in your actual phone system. So it works out real slick. So there's your SMS, texting there, and then basically you've got the ability with single sign-on to get in and then make changes to your actual 8x8 user from standpoint of voicemail preferences, call forwarding, anything you might want to customize from the app. It works out really well. So it's really important to have everything work within Teams. That's how I think. And with 8x8, it's really slick. It's very inexpensive and we've had a lot of experience and a lot of that was really positive with it. So you do have to add some licensing from Microsoft. Depending on if you've got E1 to E4, it's going to be somewhere from $6 to $8 for the phone system license to be able on the Microsoft side. And then starting at around $15, or actually probably with government or school pricing, probably around $12 a user, just for the 8x8 license that you need. Now, or if you have E5, it comes with all that on the Microsoft side. So the bottom line is users want to be able to have everything on the cell phone, whether it's Microsoft Teams, 8x8, Webex, 8x8 by themselves, their app, Zoom, via, everybody's got their own app, and that's how they want it to work. Now, for it all to work correctly, you have to have enough bandwidth. And so not everybody has enough bandwidth. So in many cases, what we can do is we can provide multiple solutions for fiber for any of your campuses, just based on the address. Any place you need internet, I can get it anywhere in the world, pretty much. So fast, secure, and reliable internet is now a requirement with everything being in the cloud. It's not a luxury. So if you want the highest level of business continuity, it requires sometimes a dual carrier, and having one person handle this instead of trying to mess with a couple of different guys, have them on the same page. I take care of all this, right? I've done this a million times. I order these circuits like every day from all the big carriers. So basically, you put in 2 fiber connections or a fiber and a coax. I work with everybody from Grande or Astound, as they're called now, to Spectrum Business, AT&T, Suddenlink, all these guys, and I get better pricing and normally can provide a solution that allows you to get US-based customer service just because you're doing business with me. So that works out really well. Now, another part of this is SD WAN. You hear people talking about it all the time. What that does is just basically prioritize and say, okay, well, social media is not as important as video conferencing and audio. And so what we're going to do is prioritize those things over that. So that's called quality of service, and it takes real-time apps and makes them more important than social media and all the things that could, that don't really matter as much. And so SD-WAN solutions, very familiar with all of them across the board, from Cisco Meraki and Fortinet to Palo Alto to VMware. I mean, all those are ones that can help get you into a situation where it's what we call a managed solution, so that it's tracked and there's a problem before there is one, or they do. Now, everything comes back to a month, your cost per user and making sense financially. So when you take a look at your current monthly cost for all your phone bills, your internet, your legacy phone system, any maintenance software you got, any current, or maybe your current cloud provider, your IT resources that you have to expend every month of your own, as well as outsourced, to be able to manage the stuff, the security aspects of what you have today, cloud-based, apps you might be using like Webex or GoToMeeting. What are you spending on all this stuff? Web chat, you have that on a website, you're paying somebody like a third party. Anyway, you take your monthly cost per user, and that's where we really take a look at what you've got and how we can really, in most cases, cut that in half, or anywhere from 50 to 70%, it seems like. So when you start talking about saving customers money, I've done it for a bunch of people, from Hayes County to, several schools to, basically Horseshoe Bay Resort was $7 grand a month. I mean, I can get there and find money pretty much if you let me with a bill review. Now, another part of this is making sure that it's easy and not having to go through the RFP process. So I'm very familiar and worked with all these guys from NASPO, where I just did Hayes County with 1,000 users across the board, to Pepin, and of course the DIR, state of Texas, if you needed to. And then there's TIPS, which is great for schools, and the buy board. Those are all really good ways to be able to buy the stuff and get the right price without having to worry about going out to bid and going through that whole process. So what we've got is Brookside Consulting, voice, video, and chat, omnichannel contact center, managed network services, Microsoft Teams and voice, customer journey analytics, and secure mobile solutions. Basically, we help you find the best provider to meet your needs from all these Gartner Magic Quadrant providers. We work with all the top carriers and global carriers, from AT&T and Astound, Grande to Spectrum, across the board, as well as help you get the right phones, the right applications, making sure everything's all integrated together. So what happens is we have a complete solution that it costs you nothing for us to help you implement and find. So learn more about how to reduce complexity and save money at www.brooksideus.com. Cloud-based voice, video, contact center, internet. Communicate simply.